Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. Since the bottom of the bear market in this cycle in late 2022, we have seen 3 consecutive impulsive waves on the weekly time frame on Bitcoin. And there's a very critical and accurate analysis that I never miss doing, not just in this cycle, but in all cycles on Bitcoin, which is to use ratios of Bitcoin against different assets that do massively affect the direction of Bitcoin. Some people call them spread charts or ratios charts, and the last time that I published a video touching this topic was during the megaphone pattern 8 months of 2024 that we spent there. Luckily for us, this particular type of analysis made it a lot easier to understand when were we due for an exit from the top of the megaphone pattern, on the lookout for a new range. In today's video, I'll do a catch up on these 4 charts. I'll let you know where we are with each individual chart. I'll answer the question of whether it's looking bullish, bearish, are we seeing a confluence on 4 of these charts, any discrepancies. Sometimes they don't say the same, sometimes they all scream the same. How different are things looking in this particular bull flag, where we are relative to the previous one and the first one. All of that in this video today. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. If you are interested also not just on swing trading and short-term setups, make sure that you're not missing my macro perspective of the cycle videos. For example, the latest one was the Bitcoin cycle top that I published yesterday. I believe it's a must watch as well. It's gonna give you a much better complete overall view of where we are standing at the moment in the cycle. Let's see if this video can also get 1,000 likes. Yesterday's got 600 likes. Always 1,000 is a lot better. Step number 1, I'm gonna explain which spreads we're gonna analyze today. We have 4 charts. The first one is Bitcoin against the dollar index. And this is extremely time sensitive because we are seeing the dollar index at the moment having a retracement to $104. We've been calling for that retracement thanks to a head and shoulders formation on the RSI weekly on the dollar. And the dollar coming down is kind of helping Bitcoin to do some things. That is the first chart. Second one is gonna be the VIX, which this week was pumping. So another one that's gonna take the spotlight in the analysis. Third one is the Federal Reserve balance sheet. This ratio is sweet to forecast the prices of Bitcoin, and it shouldn't be missed by any serious technical analyst. And the last but not least is Bitcoin against the Nasdaq. They are supposed to have some coupling. They tend to run together, and you're gonna struggle to find times when the Nasdaq is having a correction and Bitcoin isn't. All right, let's explain the basics of this. If you want to produce one of these charts by yourself, instead of just typing one symbol, you have to put a slash to divide the first symbol by the second symbol. In this case, I'm dividing Binance BTC USDT by the dollar index. That is the symbol of the dollar index. And notice that you can do any arithmetic that you want. It doesn't need to be just a division. You can multiply them, use power, plus, minus, whatever you want, and even combine tens of different assets if you come up with something really crazy. But let's keep it simple. That is how you get the chart. If you don't know what you're doing, don't worry, I have a second option. You can just go to the tradingparrot.com/charts. This page, you don't need to pay to copy most of the charts. There are some paid charts that come in the subscription VIP of the Trading Parrot, but these ones in particular are not necessary. I am using my personal version of RSI that is included in the VIP subscription, but nothing stops you from swap my RSI with the standard one on TradingView, and there you go, you can still access all the data. At the bottom of the page it says spread charts, and that's where you're gonna find each individual chart that you can click on it and then clone into your own TradingView account, and you're going to be able to see precisely what I'm seeing. Notice as well that the video from yesterday was added in here, the anchor VWAP market bottom, that now is part of this page as well, and the FIB MA number 8 is also in the website if you are interested to copy it. What are the basics? What tools are we going to be using to understand how to interpret these things? What are the top 2 things that I'm looking for when I look at a spread chart? Well, in fact, I do the same analysis whether I'm doing it on BTC naked or if I'm doing BTC over any other asset in a spread ratio bearish chart. I use the RSI, I do breakouts, breakdowns in the RSI itself. I identify areas of interest horizontal in the RSI, and then when it comes to the price, I identify areas of support and resistance, followed by flags and targets using Fibonacci extensions. All of it super simple. If you've been watching my channel, this is our bread and butter. Make sure that you're subscribed. If you want to learn more, best way is to follow the videos or to look into the tutorials that are for free in my YouTube channel. Right, let's start with BTC versus dollar index. I'm not gonna go through all the levels, but you can tell that we have formed in here a new level, right? So we just pierced it with this move down straight into the previous level. So BTC hasn't done that. The highs in here were 73.5 and the lows were just 78. So there is a 5K gap there, but as you can see with the dollar index, there's almost no gap. They are about to kiss, and that is another great thing when you do these charts, because you can see the previous kiss was perfect when you're analyzing BTC over the dollar. The highs were in here and the lows were right there millimetrically, and same with the recent kiss as well. The target of the flag was perfect against the dollar. I have vertical lines every time there is an RSI breakout, and you can see that the breakout in the bear market was when we were around 19K. Bitcoin went one level down thanks to the FTX collapse, but it remained in the same range, and that range is the range of the bottoming process with the breakout on 26th of September. Later on, we get another breakout on 16th of October 2023, and that's how we get the second impulsive move. I'm gonna call this the first wave, this is the second wave, and we have had already, or we are in progress during the third wave that gets us into over 100K for the first time in history. Now, if we observe the RSI, and if you have developed some of the eye that I have when I look at the RSI, which is very different to the traditional way of using RSI, is identify the oscillation of this, and I pay an intense attention in the trend lines. And I have trend lines that are for support with a slope, and trend lines that are downwards sloping that represent breakouts to the upside. So you get a breakdown, channel down, breakout, channel up, channel down, channel up, and now we are in the middle of a channel down. The last channel down started in 8th of April 2024. With this candle there, we already knew that we were in a channel down and that we needed to wait for the channel down to tell us when we have a breakout. And we didn't have a breakout all the way. That means that for as long as we were below this yellow line, we were protected. We knew we're not gonna break out until we cross that yellow line. Every time that we met with the yellow line, it was resistance. So this was resistance, that was resistance, this was resistance, and eventually on 16th of September, before crossing outside the bull flag, the signal was already saying we are out, we are off for the races. We also have higher lows calling for that, bottom informations and other indicators were a little bit earlier calling for this as well. In this cycle, not in this cycle, in this bull flag where we are on the weekly, we have done the same effect. We have crossed the support and we did it on New Year's Eve, pretty much. We are in that channel down and we are respecting again that resistance each and every time on the weekly against the dollar. So what do we need to be doing in here? Well, nothing from this chart really says that everything is lost. You can see that we are in a very similar situation to this. We are testing the resistance. At any point in time, we could have a breakout, but we need to watch out for something really important. This line was initially placed like this, and we did have a fake out 19th of August. I put that in a video. I said, we are breaking out on this. Then I have to say, guys, that was a fake out. Indeed, the first time I say, be prepared for the first breakout to be a fake out, and it was. Then the second one was successful. We retest and we build a channel to the upside. So in here we can have something similar. We are already meeting with the median. The median is at 56 at the moment. The median is the area in here, and it has played a role fall on the first and the second wave of being the area where we pay attention. We were below the median in here, we pay attention, we break out on 16th of October, but that was the bottom information, being below the median. We were below the median in here and we are starting to be below the median, so we pay attention once again. We can get rejection, a little bit further downside, and then break out. Notice that the breakout doesn't need always to bring a new range to the top. It can be also the beginning of a dead cat bounce. But let's not get too complicated. Let's see what the next charts are saying as well. Before I move on, notice that there is in here a non-broken M pattern. So this is a top information that hasn't been lost on this chart. Right, chart number 2. And I love this one because it's got something really crazy. It's almost like telling me I'm pointing in here. Each wave has a slope and each slope points to the same point, which is, I don't know if I'm going crazy, if I'm seeing inside the matrix or what the hell I'm smoking, because I'm not a smoker, but that's what I see. You tell me in the comments if you see the same or if it's just an optical illusion. In this particular chart, we get very different waves. They are the same 3 waves, but the way they look to me is very different. This is the one that we hold support and we break on 7th of August and we do that channel down. We are done with the channel down around 16th of October. Breakout is on 23rd of October before the price does it. Notice that is the beauty of this, that you know a breakout before the price. Price only breaks out in here and it confirms already a 2.3, whereas if you're clever and you follow the RSI on a spread chart on 23rd of October, 1 week before at a way lower prices, you already know that you have done it. Price exploration gets you into 25th of March and then we break down on 8th of April 2024. Notice that the retest in here goes straight to this crazy line, and that's how you identify the perfect slope of the line. And this line is pointing here, this other one is pointing here, and this one is kind of pointing a little bit further away. Now, second reset channel of the second wave on RSI breaks out on 9th of September. That's when we know that we are gonna look for a new range at the top. We drag a little bit in here, we do too much of retesting, but not faking out that much, and we finally get the impulsive move. This yellow line now, I'm thinking whether I should move it like this or if I should keep it like that and consider this a retest. I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm not fully sure, to be fully honest, but what I'm fully sure is that we are on the third wave. So this is confirming what the previous chart said, that we have broken down from the third wave and we are pointing down. The previous chart, the one against the dollar, shows Bitcoin putting higher lows. This is the first wave low, second low is higher, third is even higher. But when we do it again, the VIX, we are getting this low and then a lower low. So it could be that this is also indicating that on the third wave we could do a little bit lower. Remember that the RSI and the price in here can go lower without necessarily Bitcoin going lower, because this is BTC divided by VIX. Indeed, the price of Bitcoin in this formula can remain the same price, but if VIX does all the move, you can still have candles going down, particularly if the volatility index does a huge spike and Bitcoin doesn't really care, which is not realistic, but just to give you an example. Again, on this chart, we do not have a breakout. Indeed, we are quite far still from the resistance. That means that this chart is just saying wait. It doesn't necessarily say this is the bottom or we are bullish or any of that. Support in horizontal terms, you can see that is being tested at the moment, and if we close this week like this, we get a breakdown. On this particular chart, you can see that that is kind of allowed. The VIX is an oscillator, therefore it tends to play too funny with the ratio chart, because you have the breakout in here. Indeed, you should remain doing higher lows, but indeed in here you don't do it and you still get away on the RSI to have a breakout, respect it, and continue up, getting a new range. That new range tends to overlap a lot with the previous range on this particular chart. So I'm saying that so you are a little bit more forgiving with the price action itself. If we do the ratio of BTC against the Federal Reserve balance sheet, we get again very interesting insights. For some reason, on this ratio, the previous all-time high is currently what is being tested, and not necessarily the 73.5. That 73.5 in a Bitcoin naked chart is a higher price than this. This is 69, this is 73.5, but somehow this is still resistance according to what the balance sheet is doing. And that could be just a consequence of the formula, right? In here we are multiplying, we are not dividing in this case. That is the way I'm doing the TI. That's the way it made sense for me, particularly when we were looking at this 48K, holding it as support and then having the next wave. On the RSI, against the three waves are very different. You can see that wave 1 and 2 belong to the bullish area, whereas in this particular chart, the wave 3 is only a revenge rally. We lost the support of the white line and we are coming back just for a final kiss goodbye on this chart. So that's why I love seeing things from different perspectives. Of course, then later it becomes a lot more difficult to put everything together when there is not full confluence of what each chart is telling you. But when there is, the strength of the signal is huge. In September, when we exit from here, regardless of this being a rally into resistance, mid-September and the three charts were shaking hands, ready for the picture, and I even recorded a song in here which I published in my channel. You can find me singing because I promised if we exit from here I was going to publish that, and as the price was pumping I published that song. And there is a lot of merit in this ratios chart, in that confluence, for me being completely relaxed after seeing higher highs and higher lows on each ratio of the four charts. So apart from that thing that is super cool and the flag reaching precisely the target on the ratio, what I'm seeing in here is a breakdown of a channel just like we did in there. We are at the median, so that is the area of pay attention. Of course, for each of these charts, it's also very important to not break previous ranges, with the exception of the VIX chart, which has that mess in there. But on the Federal Reserve chart, of course, we don't want to get beyond this point. We already tested. The kiss is a lot deeper, as you can see, because that is the previous resistance and we went slightly below it, but that is still just a wick. Candle closes beyond that level, that is a red alert in case we do that. We are at the median, so it's the area of pay attention, and hopefully we have some sort of double bottom information either right there at the median or slightly lower at RSI, so 43. Notice that on this particular chart, 43 as a horizontal line in the RSI has been the support. In chart number 1 we get higher lows, in chart number 2 we get lower lows, we can afford them apparently, and in chart number 3 we get the same low, 43. Another insight if we were to come in here. Notice that RSI can come to 43 without necessarily the price breaking the support. That can be achieved just by going sideways and bleeding into the support at the perfect speed, which is slow. You do it slow and you can lose momentum without breaking support. If you didn't know that you can do that and you are learning something, remember to subscribe, hit the like, and write down a comment of what the hell are you learning from all this tangled price action in the chart. I just love it. All right, we are in the fourth chart, and this is against the Nasdaq. We're gonna see some serious information again on this chart. But before we go into that, let me tell you, if you wanna trade Bitcoin, consider doing it on one of my sponsor links down below, starting with OKX, which offers 60,000 in rewards, lowest fees to trade, or you can go for one of the non-KYC exchanges below as well, BitUnix and Bluffin, both of them offering great rewards and lowest fees. Let's go back into the chart. On the Nasdaq, we get something that we don't get in any other ratio chart, which is fantastic. Each one of them has something unique, something that we can take away back with alpha, and I love this one. I'm gonna put it full screen so you can appreciate the perfection of math in this particular chart for the whole cycle. You can see wave 1 reset, wave 2 reset, wave 3. So where are we according to this? You can see that top is at the same line every time. Top 1, continue with the line, top 2, top 3. What else? Well, every time we top, we go 2 levels down. Perfection. 1, 2, 3. Good. Are you still with me? 1, 2, 3. Where are we now? 1, 2. Okay. And I remind you, to get to 3, this is a spread chart. This is not just Bitcoin. To get to 3, that can be achieved by the Nasdaq pumping without necessarily Bitcoin doing anything. That's just an extreme. That's not my forecast. I'm just explaining to you so you can understand a spread chart. There are 2 individual assets and each one of them can make a move with the other one staying static still, and you're gonna see move in the ratio chart. So this in particular, it doesn't need to happen. It's calling for a move in here. But there is another caveat, and I hope that you can see it. On this wave in here, we went to the second line, we came back to this one, and we didn't fully reset to the final line. So there are some anomalies. What I'm trying to say is you could hold here and still go to the top. It's just that this particular wave, number 3, hasn't fully reset. It has touched the top band, but not the lower band. We also need to update the chart, and I'm gonna copy this and move it to where I think at the moment is support and resistance, and I'm gonna place it like this. So it's gonna be the previous all-time high, 73.5, the wave 2, and that support provided by that. So they are already in the process of negotiation right there. Are we gonna break that, or are we gonna go lower? Another anomaly on the Nasdaq spread chart, you can tell that this high is higher than this. And that is caused by the Nasdaq also moving. Since the Nasdaq moved and Bitcoin here put an all-time high that is lower, that meant that the Nasdaq was at that point probably moving more than Bitcoin, and or in here less than Bitcoin. Therefore, it created a shape anomaly that is extremely interesting. You should be wondering yourself, if we want to get to home, let's call it home, that line, do we necessarily need to break the previous all-time high, the 73, those 2 levels that are extremely important according to this chart? No, we can stretch this line further away up until June. That means that if the price of Bitcoin drags in here until June, it can get to home just like it did in here and in here, and get away with doing another rally, another impulsive move, a 4th one. Of course, this can break, Bitcoin can do whatever. I'm just trying to explain how things could fit hypothetically to remain bullish, go home, check those boxes together, please all the conditions, and repeat the same recipe. Let's go to the RSI. The RSI is also, if you notice, using in this case 39 as the full reset. And you can tell that against the Nasdaq, we haven't yet fully reset. We are in a very initial reset in here. Reset number 1 went to 39 and broke out on 25th of September of 2023. Reset number 2, 16th of September 2024, in confluence with the other 3 charts I already showed. Final, or the most recent, which we are currently experiencing, is this channel down that if it repeats previous performance, it needs to get to 39. By the way, guys, repeating past performance is not guaranteed. It's just a mental game, you know, to understand how low you can go and still respect the pattern. But that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, it's for granted. That's where we're going. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to be exposed to the market. I will go for holidays. I'll see you guys on the 2nd of June. Not necessarily. You know, you can get some exposure in here and still take advantage of some moves up. You can also short resistance. We can also get a quick rally into revenge area and then start dragging from there. You know, I've seen it all. But if we are going to follow the recipe of the ratio Nasdaq, we need to wait for June to not break the support and still go to home. And that will also take the RSI into roughly end of May to break out from the same area it did in the past 2 resets. Let me know what you think. Let me know which chart do you think is the most useful. Let me know which chart you think is absolutely BS and we should be completely ignoring it. Or if you like the 4 charts as well, what was the most interesting thing in the video? I really want to know your opinion. In these specific videos, I read every single comment. There's always someone sharing a comment where I learn something as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, like, subscribe, help the channel. This content should be seen by more people. My humble opinion, and I'm not being cocky or anything. I wish more people knew about these things, honestly. Take care. Bye-bye.